This video is sponsored by Aura. When it comes to yokai and DanDaDan, Evil Eye not only got the donk, but also has one of the most intelligent and interesting characters as a whole. An innocent boy sacrificed, imprisoned, and starved of life itself. So it makes sense when Evil Eye reveals his true intentions, which is to kill all humans as a way to fulfill his revenge. But what if I told you that Evil Eye wasn't evil at all? What if his hatred is really just misguided rage, which comes from a place of love? This can be hard to believe, but the evidence is pretty clear if you're willing to dive deep enough. But before we dive into the full analysis, my sponsor Aura has a word or two to say about all of the true evil eyes out there trying to find your information and steal it. Take for example, I googled my name and was shocked to find dozens, really endless links to personal information. They had stuff like old emails I forgot about, account names, and even personal information like addresses to places I've not lived at for well over a decade now. So, what's the deal here, and how can you protect yourself from this? Well, it was reported in the LA Times and CBS that every single living American social security numbers were hacked and leaked onto the web and the dark web. And because of this, Americans lost over $10 billion in 2022. These nefarious peoples have websites that are scrubbing data from the internet and sells this data to, well, data brokers. Have you ever gotten a spam email or spam caller and wondered how they got your information? That's how. And let's say you want to be proactive and get this taken down yourself. Good luck. These people intentionally make it as difficult as possible with forms that are designed to waste your time. And that is just for one search result. So you need to protect your identity, and you need to do it now and quickly. So do it with Aura. Aura offers spam call protection, so no more calls from people you don't know. Aura will also scrub the entire web and dark web to remove your information regularly, giving you updates whenever new information is taken down or needs to be addressed. In one single app, you get dark web scans, fraud alerts, a VPN, even $5 million theft insurance, all in one app. Total protection. So don't become a victim of online theft. Try Aura free for 14 days at aura.com/SeaTactics. Let them handle the threats while you focus on what really matters, which is, of course, your online safety. For 200 years, the Keto family had been sacrificing humans to the Mongolian death worm. And to do that, they would sacrifice children specifically. One of these children was unfortunately what would become Evil Eye. And let it be known, this child was subjected to imprisonment and forced to watch the children play while he would daydream of one day playing with those very same happy-looking kids. This was a great way to set up the primal, instinctual desire of Evil Eye to be human. Those kids reminded himself of what he was and allowed those desires to bubble to the surface. And the hole-in-the-ground prison represents what the adults treated him as, a human sacrifice that would eventually become one with the dirt in due time. Because to the Ketos, humans are as good as the mud they were born from. However, there was a sense that Evil Eye sacrificed himself for the better good of what he thought was the village people as well. Maybe he thought putting himself forward as a sacrifice was something he thought would bring those children joy? That it would save them all and in the process save his soul? This is the characteristic of a child who does not know any better and is swearing a filial piety to those who seem to know better. Who knows for sure the final details, though. So how did this child, filled with so much instinctual love, become someone who was filled with rage? Well, unsurprisingly, once more, it was the adults, namely the Keto family again, who would do what they've always done. sacrifice yet another house with another family at the altar of the Mongolian death worm. The boy of this family was able to see Evil Eye while the adults around them weren't able to, showing that even after all of these years, Evil Eye had retained his purity just like the child of this seemingly normal family. But after the death worm killed his parents, the Keto family tied the boy up and left him as a sacrifice, just as they did to Evil Eye centuries ago. This would drive Evil Eye to confront something he had never had to confront before. Why are these people doing this? What would drive humans to sacrifice other humans for immortality and to empower something so evil? Yet at the same time, why wouldn't other humans save this boy? For such a simple child who was imprisoned all of his life, he couldn't quite grasp the complexity of the situation. Thus, in a panic, trying to save the boy who was just as confused as he was, he took over the boy to create what is now known today as Evil Eye, vowing to kill all humans because humans are inherently evil creatures that, time and time again, choose their own selfish desires over the needs of the many. And you cannot blame Evil Eye for coming to this conclusion. On the surface, and anecdotally, his experience is valid, and what we see proves that. So it is no wonder that the Keto family broke the spirit of this boy and turned him into a monster hellbent on revenge. So, where does this leave Evil Eye? Well, on the surface, it seems like rage fueled by vengeance. He has been betrayed over and over, which has led him down the path of coping. The only way to deal with this issue is through the very same ways of violence that the Keto family inflicted on them and that poor family. The idea comes in the form of an eye for an eye. You sacrificed people for personal gain, it is only fair that I get to snuff out the source altogether. Therefore, the Keto family will no longer be able to sacrifice anyone. He's, in other words, killing the food source of hatred, which is humans. But there is a flaw in the way he thinks. It is not as simple as humans having the capacity to hate, and therefore they are all evil and deserve death. See, I guarantee you, if we asked Evil Eye what he thinks of himself and his stance, he may say he was the victim. This proves his own point wrong, as if he truly believed in this idea of humans deserving extinction, then he would be just as guilty. See the contradiction? Humans are not built for linear thought processes like black and white, left or right, or an eye for an eye. We are adaptive animals, and therefore by introducing this linear way of thought, he is introducing contradiction. So why is this important? Well, when you look at it from this perspective, something becomes clear. Is Evil Eye truly doing all of this because he hates humans? I think there is a good chance that he is simply misguided by his rage and lack of human experiences. In a way, it's kind of a reverse of the idea of ignorance. The less someone knows of something, the more they are afraid of it. But in this instance, the less Evil Eye knew of the true breadth of human nature, the more he misjudged it as evil. And rightfully so, but I also think that, much like ignorance, the path forward for Evil Eye isn't to imprison him inside Gigi's body and keep him from taking over. But maybe the key here is to let him free to do what he wants, guiding him along the way so that he doesn't kill anyone. Just like a parent who would a child, gently push them in the direction they need to go and support them when they truly need it, but only gently. Evil Eye needs to, as a character, experience more of life and what it has to offer so that the rage he feels can be enjoined with the joy of what life has to offer. I think a good parallel to this is something we all experience. Filial piety is something we must all outgrow as a child. Adults cannot tell you what to do or judge and choose your every decision. Much like how the Keto family chose for Evil Eye to be a human sacrifice, he has fallen into a situation that is effectively similar. So now it is up to Gigi, Momo, Okaroon, and the other DanDaDan's to show the Evil Eye the joys of human life. Waking up, smelling the roses, sipping on coffee, hanging out with friends, enjoying debate, enjoying communication, media, art, music, and nature. All of these things which come from the same mud of life that evil can sprout from too. To quote Digi from Chainsaw Man, life seems like a crap burger that just keeps piling up, but what will keep Evil Eye moving forward isn't hatred and the lamentation of society and its pitfalls, but the things which reside above the deep troubled and murky waters of what we had evolved into over centuries and eons. Because after all, those are just the waters of our past. We are destined for something beyond that, and to reject those notions and accept the hatred and violence of past generations will only serve to drag us back to the mud again to resprout and see what new mixture of chemicals will ensure success. Evil Eye really isn't evil. His name is a misnomer. Evil Eye is a representation of the love for others which drives us to hatred. Because always remember, the opposite of love is not hatred, it is indifference. I hope you learned something or made you think of something happy or inspirational for once. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.